Yokoso, Yokoso, Yokoso. Welcome, one and all, to the Stadia Monday Night Chat, episode 96. I'm your host, Clive Illenden, of course, and what a show we have for you this week. Oh my God. I hope you're all good. I hope you are well. As ever, say hello in the chat. Let yourself be known and all of that, of course. And remember to hit the likes because I like it. YouTube likes it and it helps people like you find content like this. And if you are new here, maybe you're curious about what I have to say. Maybe you're here to troll or anything like that. That's fine. Welcome, welcome. Just one little thing I ask. Just open your mind a bit for tonight. Yeah, just open your mind if you are new here and listen, yeah, to what I have to say. And hit subscribe and toggle that notification bell. And then you'll know when I go live with content like this. And as ever, please, let me know what games you've been playing in the chat. Put it in the chat. Always interested. Of course, tonight we have lots to talk about. There's new games have been announced. Announcement of 100 plus games coming to Stadia and so much, much more. And yes, of course, yes, I'll be discussing the Business Insider article. Yeah, it will be addressed, ladies and gentlemen. It will be addressed. So be ready for that. Oh, yes, be ready for that. Of course, before we get going, let's say hello to the mosh pit down at the front. Who are the early birds in the chat? Best behavior, please. No throwing your beers at the lead singer or the guitarist. Let's have a look, see who is there. Early doors straight in is Mastar S. Stage is alive. Yes, it is. Indeed, it is. Hello. Yes, indeed. Whoop, whoop. Lukey 6 there. Ray, as ever. Crow Resin. Inled with the graphics there. All good stuff. Jerry, how are you? He's in the building now. He's driving home before his own show. It's, oh yeah, the cowboy there. Jeremy, hello. How are you? Well, you know, we're going to just compare it to some facts and information and context, provide some context and stuff like that. Of course we are, Johnny Robots. I will try to be not too harsh on them. Oh, snap. Yeah, the glasses. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello, I can't see. How are you? Squids, lurking. Always lurking. That's okay. We like that. We like that. Hey, Enoch Stone. Lovely to see you. Cloudbusters. Is the light dying on Stadia? Oh, no. And Soul Home Studio, of course, is present. That is good to see. Of course, as I say, let me know what games you've been playing and all of that in the chat. I have been playing FIFA 22, of course. My son plays it all the time and unfortunately, he plays it on my account, and now I've just set him up on my account at his mum's house. He loves it, and I'm going to come back on that in a bit later on, actually, about my son's love of FIFA 22 on Stadia. I fired up Dirt 5 this evening as well. We'll come to that later because there's been a new patch. Oh, my God, that game. I don't know if it's just me, or because I'm playing on the LGC one or whatever, but they've done something to it, I swear. Yeah, well, I know they've done something, they patched it, but they've done they've added some magic juice to it because I tell you what, it looks and plays amazing. If you've not checked out Dirt 5, I have to admit, I mean, it looked amazing before, to be honest. It looked really good. But there was occasional odd bit of just slight stutter. Very, very occasionally, but just odd moment. And, you know, most of the time you could ignore it and you know, it's fine. But not the version I played tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely check out Dirt 5. What else? Was playing a bit of Wreckfest, actually, as part of the Winter Community Championship, just to see whether I could any chance of getting on the leaderboard. Answer is no. There we go. So yeah, but anyway, let me know what you've been playing. Dave, how are you? Of course, Dr. Disrespect. Yeah, him and I clash. I tell him, in fairness, if he doesn't want to lose viewers, he should just maybe move his stream. But you know how he is. It's two big egos. That's what it is. Two big egos there. That's what we're doing there. Barkley, how are you? Cosmic Star Heroine, good game. Good. Oh, I haven't tried it yet, Dave. I'm not sure it's my sort of thing. Do you recommend I should at least give it a go? Same with Jeremy there. Phoenix Point, Dirt 5 and Destiny. Phoenix Point, didn't it get recently some DLC or an upgrade recently? And Destiny 2. Yeah, Dirt 5. Have you noticed a difference in Dirt 5? Oh, Lloyd is in the house. It's okay. He's here now. It's okay. Madden 22, because it's a massive sale. I think FIFA was in sale as well, interestingly enough. Okay. Got to get through a lot today, this afternoon, whatever. Let's get on with the news. Okay, to the news. As I say, we've got a lot to get through, so I may rush through the starters before we get to the main dish. So apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies. Anyway, we had the Stadia save point update, which normally isn't that particularly interesting, other than it's a good reflection of everything that just happened. And we talked about, in the month before. And collectively, when you see all the things, the games and stuff, it always looks quite good rather than just being focused on each week. But there was a very interesting bit in that blog post in here. And you'll see here, apart from the announcement of the games that we knew, already arrived in January, it says here, and I missed this, a few people missed it. We're a bit blasé about the blog. And I skim read these things, But here, look. And I'd been waiting for this announcement, oddly enough. And I'll come to this a bit later because I made a video on the 1st of February, which is exclusive to members. But I made it specifically about it being 1 year after the closure of Stadia Games and Entertainment and where we were at and what to expect. And I'm going to come to that a bit later anyway. But I was hoping, I sort of predicted we would get an announcement within the next sort of week or so along these lines. And here we are, about this many games. And so I kind of assumed this was what was going to happen. So it was really great to see 100 plus games expected to arrive on Stadia this year from publishers big and small. So great. That was great. Everybody was, once people had seen that, everybody was cock-a-hoop, as they say. Everybody was really chuffed by that. Oh, I got 100 games. Great. I'm glad they confirmed it. That's great. Yay. Oh, good. Yeah. Just remember that memory, as it were, that thought, yeah? 100 games coming. That was on like Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah? Just remember that. As I say, they repeated this as well in a tweet later in the week. I guess it was just for those at the back not paying attention, maybe. So with 270 games on the platform, yeah, that means by the end of the year, we'll have 370 plus games. By the end of this year, 370 games in the library. Now, come on. That's not bad. 370 plus games in your library. If you're, presenting Stadia to anybody or if somebody's new to it, Stadia's got no games apart from the 370 plus games. I mean, it's not bad, is it, really? And also, check out the lovely Stadia Pro chart that they did as well. Here we go. Trying to get Inled's job. I think I prefer Inled's ones. It's got more colours in it. But they've done it in the Stadia colours, in fairness. So very nicely designed there. Let's go big on this, baby. Let's go big on it. Now, I'm going to touch on the Stadia Pro a little later. But I've mentioned on this show for weeks now that we, from about September, October, I've been mentioning it, well, maybe November, we started to see a trend. Now, from a data point of view, 2 or 3 months is not really enough. But I think we've got enough months now in the bag to say there is a definite net trend, in terms of the Stadia Pro titles going up. That's what the data is telling us. There's an upward trend, and there's no upward trend, obviously, over the 2 years, but specifically here, which reflects what they've stated about their priority and stuff like that. This increase in the Stadia Pro library. In fact, they tweeted about it as well. Was it this one? Let's have a look. Yeah, look, they did a nice little. Look, the 50 games. So there's 50 games right now. They did this nice little chart. Let me make it big for you. Nice little chart. 50 pro titles. They were pushing that for anybody new to Stadia. I mean, that's pretty good. And so based on that, 50 pro games to claim. So based on that upward trend and the strategy that they talked about, I think we can see that definitely maybe reach 60 to 70 by the end of the year. Comfortably, I reckon. It wouldn't be a stretch. I mean, and that's pretty impressive for a pro library. And in terms of value, again, shout out to Brian of Nerf Report here. I saw this earlier today, actually. It's a useful little chart, useful little picture. Let's go big on that one. This is just a by the by. If you want to check out the real value of all the pro games, the amount of hours, the value, then definitely check out InLED's database and charts and stuff like that. But I think Brian presented this here. And this is comparing it games with gold and on the games that come with PlayStation as well. In terms of value, I'm not sure where the 56 games come from. Maybe it's some of the free games that are on there. I'm not sure. But anyway, the point is, in terms of value, Stadia offers more value compared to games with gold and the PlayStation's equivalent. So just, again, you can cut these things any way you want, but it's just an interesting observation, a selling point, a marketing point, call it what you will, but just an interesting observation to make, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to tweet that, no. Let's just click that off. Anyway, so it'd be interesting to see how many Stadia Pro titles we get by the end of the year if we've got 100+ games coming. And as I mentioned, Stadia tweeted the 100+ games coming a little later in the week for some reason. Not sure why, but there you go. Just a reminder, maybe. Now, I already know there of about 20 to 30 games that we're fairly certain, we either know definitely have been announced that are coming to Stadia, and a small handful that I think are pretty certain. And I did a video at the beginning of the year covering all of those. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we know of 2 more games towards this 100+ games, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more games. What is the first one? Okay, the first one is this. Yeah, let's go this one. From Way Forward, and it's Dawn of Monsters, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm really loving the graphic style in here. It's a sort of Japanese comics style here. And this is from our friends at Way Forward. And it's called Dawn of the Monsters, and it's releasing in March. As I say, it comes from Wayward, who brought Shantae, the Shantae games, friend of the platform. And Dawn of Monsters is a kaiju beat 'em up with, to be frank, amazing looking art style to it. And it features artists like Yuji Kaida and Shinji Nishikawa. Okay. And they, if you look them up, I looked them up actually, are renowned kaiju artists. One of them has a book actually. Well, they've got an amazing credit list, these artists that worked on the art style of this. And there's not just those 2, there are others, but these 2 particularly are really well known. One of them's got a book out just on kaiju and Godzilla art. Here, I looked it up. It's interesting. Let's go big and you can see it better. So this is Kaida Yuji Kaida, the art of Godzilla. And he's got this whole kind of amazing book, amazing artwork and style. So yeah, a really, really interesting looking game, you know, with a real good, interesting art style. Don't know what that's on there for. So yeah, particularly looking for that. And that's coming out in March, ladies and gentlemen. That's coming out in March. We look at the main thing here. Kaiju Beat 'em Up launches in March. Coming to all the platforms, including Stadia there in March 2022. It's a passion project that stems from 13 AM Games, love of all things kaiju. But in addition to the internal creative crew, we've joined forces with an incredible team of collaborative artists to bring Dawn of the Monsters to life, both in game and for promotional purposes. And then this big list of artists that they're working with. And just some great looking artwork, personally. I love this kind of artwork. And it looks really, and I love, you know, Godzilla and those, the whole kind of mythology around it and the canon and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, looks really great. So that is confirmed game coming to Stadia in March. So not that long, ladies and gentlemen, not that long. So look out for that one. Yeah, look out for that. Should be very interesting. Let me know what you think. I mean, the Amazings I was just reading Lloyd's chat then when I said the amazing, yeah, the visuals do look amazing, Dasmi. The word amazing caught my eye, and that's why I suddenly said it out of order then in chat. But the visuals do look amazing, definitely. So yeah, Street Rage with Monsters. Good shout out, Ron. Could be. But anyway, yeah, and if you want to, yeah, definitely look up those artists and stuff like that, because they're quite renowned for their work. So it should be really, really interesting. But it's not just that, ladies and gentlemen, not just that. There is more. Another game was announced. Now, this game, well, I had no idea about Dawn of Monsters, but this is a game from another game that's coming in. It's from Ubisoft. And again, I think this was completely under the radar as well. And this is so super from besties from Stadia, isn't it? Ubisoft are, you know, Stadia's besties. And again, I can't find any video on this yet. A bit weird. And it's this. Oddballers. Yeah? Oddballers, ladies and gentlemen. Throw anything and everything at your friends in Oddballers, launching March the 24th. So two games that we didn't know about, announced for March. And we've still got World War Z to come as well. So interesting. Oddballers is a new dodgeball multiplayer party game where just about anything you can find can be thrown at your opponents. Launching March the 24th, blah, 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 on Stadia and Amazon Luna, everything. And then it has PlayStation 5, Xbox S compatibility mode. The game can be played solo or in multiplayer, up to 4 players locally and 6 online. You dodge, block, and throw items in 3 unique environments. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure it's my cup of tea, but it looks fun. You know, there's something a bit of Outcasters to it, a little bit maybe, to me. Yeah. So two games we did not know about coming to the platform in March. And another game that we did know about, ladies and gentlemen, another game that we do know about, and many of us are looking forward to, Instinction. And I mentioned this. So Instinction, of course, is the dinosaur hunting game, ladies and gentlemen. Dinosaur hunting game. And here, look. Finally, you can vote for the dinos you'd like to see in Instinction. So Instinction, I think, is coming towards the end of the year, and it is coming to Stadia. There is an exhaustive list of dinosaurs. And you can add yours at the bottom for up to 2 weeks. Link in the top right-hand corner of the website. So they've got this website here. Let's have a look, see if we can go to it. Oh, look, there we are. Name a dinosaur. Somebody put a dinosaur in the chat and I will vote for it now. Yeah? Any dinosaur. It has to be on this list. So see if there's lots. Name a dinosaur. First person to name a dinosaur, it gets voted for. And this will be in the game. Yeah, so Instinction, for those that don't know, is like a kind of dinosaur hunting game. So, yeah. Anybody, yeah, so just let me know, and we'll vote for it. Yeah, we'll vote for that. Anyway, so the dinosaur hunting game, you can vote for your favorite Barney. Brilliant. Barney, Pedder wins the prize there. Barney the dinosaur has to be on there. That is brilliant. Brontosaurus, I don't think they're called brontosauruses anymore, are they? They're called Diplodocus. Oh, no, it is a brontosaurus. Okay, there are. I thought it just was a Diplodocus, whatever. Diplodocus. Anyway, I voted for it. There we go. Barney wasn't on there. There we go. Voted for. I've done it. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Too late with the Triceratops, mate. You've got to be faster than that. You've got to be like a velociraptor. Get in there. Whoosh, like a velociraptor, yeah? That's the key thing. Anyway, so that's good. And talking of games, we have some sales figures, actually, for a recent Stadia game, which is quite interesting for those that are into those sort of things. This is from Eves over at Brain's Gone Dead, 100 Days. And he posted this tweet about, here we are. There is some interest around the percentage of the distribution of copies sold of 100 days between the different stores. This date is considering the date until the end of January. And he's got Stadia figures on there, and Stadia represents 2.3% of the overall sales. You've got the mobile sale, the iOS sales, and the mobile sales. Now, we know that mobile sales are massive. I'll go large for that so you can see. But 2.3% of the overall sales, is Stadia, which, again, is only one data source, but it would seem to confirm that idea that, the Stadia is sort of at 2% of the overall market. It would seem to correlate where we think the market size is generally within gaming. Again, it's only one data point. There are also some Destiny 2 figures I saw flying around, but if you do see those figures, I do believe they're from 2020, so they're early doors, yeah? So you need to kind of take those with a pinch of salt. Well, not a pinch of salt, but at least within the context of the time period that they were taken, as I understand it. But anyway, I just thought that was just interesting, and I'm sure people like Jack to Slip, who's in the chat and stuff, can correlate that, feed it into his data machine, let his algorithms gobble it all up and spit out some interesting correlation and analysis, I'm sure. But just interesting to observe. So thank you, Eves, of 100 Days for that. And indeed, Pedder, you're quite right. That doesn't include the pro claims. You're quite right. He confirms that later on in the tweet. Somebody asked the question. It was Ion says no, just the sold copies. We have some units sold even during the pro period. So it's just good to see from the other side, from a developer's perspective, how it works. So he's confirming that these sales figures are sales figures. They're not pro figures. So bearing in mind, they're benefiting from every pro usage. And he confirmed that copies were sold. So Stadia copies were sold, not from pro members as well, as it were. So just interesting insight into the world of indie games on Stadia. Just thought I'd share that there with you guys. There we go. Right. Stadia. Where was I there? Yeah. Also, I just want to add that when Stadia retweeted about the 100 plus games, they also mentioned new features, ladies and gentlemen. So what they didn't just announce new games, they mentioned new features as well. Here we go. There's also more feature goodness coming to Stadia 2. Stuff we can't talk about just yet, but we promise to share when we can. So more features coming to the platform. Again, that's good to well, obviously, to me, of course, new features are coming. That's just a natural evolution of Stadia because Stadia's not going anywhere. We know they're working on the platform, but I'll come to all that and the tech behind it and constantly improving it. But it's good to get confirmation that in terms of Stadia itself, that aspect of the whole back end, as it were, will be getting new features as well. So that is Stadia confirming not only 100 plus games, as they mentioned earlier in the week, but more feature goodness coming to the platform. So look forward to that as well. In other news as well, we'll wrap up some other news really quickly. Of course, you can always catch up with the news that I miss on this show, in between this show and next week's show, on my Stadia News TLDR, which I try to get out in the middle of the week. There was a possible Stadia registration, Stadia trademark registration in Australia spotted out there, which is interesting. So again, feeding into this, that's a bit dull, you can't really see. Feeding into this, we saw a trademark registration in Brazil. So feeding into the rumors, the possibility that could territory expansion be on the cards. This is just the boring trademark registration with the Australian government. Anyway, we don't know, speculation, but it's just interesting to see these things in the wild, as it were. So I'll just touch on that. And in other news, ladies and gentlemen, in other news as well, again, I mentioned it earlier because I played it, I tested it out. Shout out to Lee and the team at Stadia Source here, who contacted Codemasters to confirm that, oh yes, this was a while ago. So we mentioned that Dirt 5, so Codemasters had mentioned that Dirt 5 would be updated in early February. Well, that update has happened. So we can confirm that this update is now live on Stadia and crossplay has been enabled. And if you go, I was checking out, well, I checked it out this evening, but I was checking out Project Storm's video. He was checking it out. So I'll have a look here. You will see here, I'm going to pause it there. This is Project Storm earlier in the day. Enable cross-platform play there. You can have it on. So cross-platform play allows random multiplayer matchmaking with players on other platforms. Blah, 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 blah. So cross-play, something that we've said it so many times on this show. If a game that comes with cross-play, that cross-play is more valuable to Stadia than it is to other platforms. We know that, but given the player base on Stadia, but you add crossplay, it changes the game. It changes everything for Stadia. You've seen it on PUBG, seen it on Division 2, seen it on Rainbow Six, whatever, 9 to 5 even. You never really go without a game when it's crossplay, and then it makes having Stadia having the game on Stadia really, really worthwhile. So that is great. To see that now Dirt 5 is on Stadia is up to speed with all the others. But I also think there's been visual improvements. People are saying, it's still coming in 4K now. There's a 4K mode on it. Certainly it looked and played amazing when I played it this evening. There wasn't any sign of the odd minor bits of glitching that I saw before when I first played it. Of course, it was a Stadia Pro game. It's fallen out of the Stadia Pro now, unfortunately, I think. But definitely, the game. If you were lucky enough to grab it when it was in Pro, definitely check it out again and see if you can see a difference, because I think definitely there is a difference on that. So well worth checking that out. Yoshida, your message was hidden there. All right. Anyway, hello. Konbanwa. Arigato gozaimasu. Yokoso. Lovely to see you. You missed, did you miss all my kaiji stuff earlier, my Japanese art and kaiji stuff earlier, you know, Gojira stuff and all of that? You should check it out. Anyway, that was Dirt 5. Sorry, sidetracked there by the chat. When your GF appears in the chat, you know. Anyway, some people are saying that Dirt 5 is in 4K. I don't know. Let me know if it's been confirmed or anything like that. But definitely it looks, chef's kiss. It looks really, really, really good. So I highly recommend check that out. And other quick news as well. I mentioned this before on my Stadia TLDR. You can play the free Rambo mission on Far Cry 6. There's a new Rambo mission on Far Cry 6. So check that out. You can play as John Rambo or a John Rambo type character, available on all the platforms now. So I thought I'd just let you know that. Also on Far Cry 6, while I'm on it, the Joseph Seed DLC element. So they've got the sort of 3 villains now on Far Cry 6. The Joseph Seed version is also coming out very soon, if not today. So I saw an announcement about that today, so you can check that out as well. I'm just whizzing through some of the kind of extra news here at the end before we get to the meat and potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to the meat and potatoes. Stadia Enhanced. So Christopher Clay, who creates the Stadia Enhanced app. So this is basically takes the Stadia app and turns it up to 11. And it gives you a lot more features and extra things. If you play Stadia in the Chrome browser and stuff like that, get yourself Stadia Enhanced. But he has confirmed here that version 1.19.3 went into verification, including a new report bug feature powered by Original Penguin's Stadia database. And he's also started working on version 1.20. So I just thought I'd share that for those that have the Stadia Enhanced app. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Clay has, busy as ever, been working away on that. I've got all these tabs open. I'll get rid of them. Right. And then one last thing I thought I'd share here is Crater, which, of course, launched on Stadia for anything else, and is still a great game, ladies and gentlemen. They are ready to reveal the winners of their $50,000 game jam. To discover who won, head in game on either Stadia or the Epic Game Store and check out the in-game news. I'd be interested to see what sort of... It's a long time since I've been in Crater to see what games are being created. And now it's on the Epic Game Store. I'm curious to see, what other games. I did come across a really small developer who basically develops games specifically for Crater. So within Crater, develops games. So spends their time just creating really awesome games. And there's this $50,000 game jam prize. So it might be worth popping back into the global game jam, popping into Crater, and seeing what wonderful creations people have come up with in terms of sort of game-wise. Anyway, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Crater giving out the money, darlings. Giving out the money there. Right. Okay. That's the news. Oh, yes. And finally, the Clear Stadia controller, that was for sale on eBay, sold for $1,000. I watched it go, and I was so tempted. It would have been about 750 odd quid. I put in, I think to win the bid, you had to put in 1,026. I actually typed in 1,026, but And I don't have to explain to anyone, but part of you'd think, how do I really justify spending 750 smackaroonies, you know? Ugh. And then I'd regret. I don't know. No, look, I've got washing machines to buy, tumble dryers. Really, 750 odd quid. Purple Haze, lovely to see you. Goodbye. Sorry, I missed you. Sorry, I missed you there. Anyway, gone, sold. $1,000 for a clear launch edition. Well, you know, staff launch edition of the Stadia controller there. Sold to the highest bidder, $1,000. It stayed at that. I thought there would be somebody would nip in at the end and nick it. Not the case, ladies and gentlemen. Not the case. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for this, eh? Buckle up, people. Buckle up. The next bit could get bumpy. Okay, expect some turbulence. Please put on your seatbelt, lift up your tray. Yeah, turning on the overdrive now. The big news. Yeah, the big noise of the week, of course, was the Business Insider article, ladies and gentlemen. Of course it was. Yeah. Now, before we get into this, I just want to mention that on the 1st of February, okay, the beginning of last week, I shared a video, I did an exclusive video, and I mentioned it earlier in the stream. And this is all context as well. It's just interesting that this article came out towards the end of the week. Because at the beginning of the week, I shared an exclusive channel members video called 1 year after the closure of SG&E, Stadia, What Went Right. Yeah, that's what it was called. 1 year after the closure of SG&E, what went right? As I said, this was before the announcement as well. This was before the announcement of another 100 games coming this year and before the Business Insider article. And yet that video holds up so well. And I made it, I made it because I wanted to capture my thoughts 1 year after the fallout and everybody's sort of, you know, oh, Stadia's dead. We're dead in 6 months and all of that, in a way to reflect and go, none of that happened. All that headless chicken nonsense, none of it happened. Yeah. So, and I wanted to capture that moment because I noticed nobody else was doing anything about that. Nobody was saying it because most of the articles around it were negative and they were closing. So you're not going to go, I was wrong. Although ironically, I'll come to that. There were some people who did actually go, you know, I said it was going to die last year. Well, it's going to die this year. And it's like, you got no shame. Like you were wrong and now you want to be wrong again. Well, that's up to you, whatever. Anyway, the point is, all those erroneous claims that Stadia would be dead or closed or rebranded in 6 months, 12 months. Yeah? All that nonsense. I just wanted to take stock of where Stadia is and where it was going. Okay? And I'll share the intro with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll share the intro with you. Let me just rewind that bit.
On the 1st of February 2021,
right there.
the Phil
Let
Harrison...
me just rewind the bit. Here we go. Get it on there. Right. I'll share the intro with you, just so you know.
1 year ago today, on the 1st of February 2021, the Phil Harrison, head of Stadia, announced the closure of Stadia Games and Entertainment. Not Stadia itself, but their in-house first-party studio. For many, this was the end of Stadia. For some, it was just a matter of time before the end. 6 months, 12 months, and it would all be over. And yet, 12 months later, Stadia is still here. It's available on more devices than ever before, has over 250 games in the library, and continues to grow out its pro library, whereas as of today, you can claim 50 games. So what went right?
Okay, so that you get the gist. Okay, you get the gist of the piece there. Basically, that's what I was exploring. Now, this is before the announcement of the 100+ games, for the Business Insider article, all of that. And now the video, of course, is available to watch to all my members feel free to join if you want to watch it. It's a very good video, personally. But I didn't necessarily want to share it too publicly at the time. I don't know, because you just get a lot of trolls, you know, and I didn't really have the headspace for all of that, but I just wanted to capture the moment and share it with my members because, you know, my members are intelligent, you know what I mean? They understand context and nuance and detail and facts, you know. So I thought they're a good audience. I'll share it with there. And just so you know, here's the conclusion. So well worth recommending. Anyway, you know, check it out. Even if you know, join for a month or whatever, check the video out. It's cool. Yeah, hey, you have to subscribe to the Business Insider if you want to read it. So, you know, why not this? I'll just share the basic conclusion. So what can we conclude a year later from that blog post? Simply, Stadia will continue to grow and build at their own pace. Right now, Stadia is the best it's ever been. And each month, it's better than the month before. And in my opinion, we can just expect more of the same that we had last year. No massive fireworks, no big reveals, just a steady, continued growth, more games released for the platform, a broadening out of the Stadia Pro library, reaching more people and more devices. If you look at Stadia through that lens, a steady incremental growth, then you should be fine. Sit back, enjoy the backlog of games that we're getting on Stadia, and have fun, and worry a little less. Stadia is not going anywhere and will continue to grow, just at its own pace. Okay. So as I said, you get the gist of it there. I'd basically state that I'd seen a pattern in the last few weeks that tells me that this year will be very much like last year. Yeah, that is and was my expectation. And, you know, for me, you know what? That's not a bad thing. With the same sort of year, because there was some great games. There's over 100 games, some big games, you know, and that's fine. And that was my expectation. And as I say, this was before they announced the 100+ games. That's exactly what I expected to happen. And sure enough, 3 days later, they announced 100+ games. Okay. So I just share that because it sort of puts some things in, you know, in context. And as I say, Stadia's very compelling offer at 270+ games in the library, 50 games in Stadia Pro if you sign up right now. I've said it before, very, very compelling. And a few days after my video, hey, Kel surprise, I was proved correct. Clive, really? You? What? One consistently correct for the last 96 shows? Yeah. Bar that one thing. Yeah, okay, bar the one thing. You know, we now have it confirmed. By the end of the year, Stadia will have 370+ games in its library. And I'm predicting, as I mentioned earlier, as many as 70 games claimable for new Stadia Pro members. That is not a stretch target. And that's not bad, you know. 2 days after that, yeah, and after the announcement of the 100+ games, the Business Insider article comes out, yeah? But those facts from 2 days before that remain the same. And many people have sort of overreacted. I mean, it's got the clicks and it restarted the Stadia is dead narrative again. And that is annoyingly unnecessary. And it is a problem that needs to be addressed. Yeah, and we'll come to that. But to the article, right? Let's get to the article, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. Okay, so the article in question, yeah? Let's go big on this. Here we go. Google is trying to salvage its failing Stadia game service with a new focus on striking deals with Peloton, Bungie, and others under the brand Google Stream. Now, first, that headline. that cues you in immediately onto the take that they're going to take, on their position that they're taking. Yeah. We know the information within here. Yeah. But the headline immediately spells out their position on this information. Okay. And I think, it's just interesting from that point of view. You can take some of this language out and it reads very differently. Keep all the facts, keep all the so-called, insider stuff. That's the headline. Yeah. But I guess a headline like this, company follows through on its let's do it again because I'm going to lose the dramatic impact. A headline like this, company follows through on its proposed plan from February 21 by starting to secure deals with partners as it said it would, doesn't really have a ring to it. Yeah, okay, Business Insider, I can understand why you didn't go with that. It's the same thing, yeah? Yeah, a company who announced that they were going to enter relationships with third-party partners with their tech have started to do it. Yeah, it doesn't have the same ring. I'll give you that. Fair enough. Also, most of this article could have been written on the 2nd of February, 2021. Yeah? All the information in here could easily be from that first week, the first few weeks. Disgruntled employees who've been told their roles no longer are required. Yeah, check. Quoting a developer that was quoted back in 2020 and has since been proved to be in the minority of those that have, other developers have come out and said, no, they're really happy with what they've got from Google. Check. But they quote a developer, a single developer, again, an insider developer that was quoted way back in 2020. Yeah. Putting it in this article now. Google reprioritizing their focus and looking towards working with partners to leverage. Yeah, this is what they're saying, isn't it? To leverage their tech. Check, yeah. That's just as Phil Harrison said on the 1st of February, 2021 in his blog post. Yeah. So, okay. A year ago, Google announced it would close its internal Stadia game studios. So this is the quote, actually. This is the quote. A quote in response. A year ago, Google announced, announced it would close its internal Stadia game studios. It's since worked to land white label deals with partners such as Bungie and Peloton, and increase consolidation. So these are the headlines. These are the headlines. Sorry, I lost my... So a year ago, Google announced it would close its internal Stadia game studios. Yeah, correct. Well done. Good. It has since worked hard to land white label deals with partners. Great. Glad to see they're working hard, because not only did they announce they would close the internal Stadia studios, Stadia Games and Entertainment, call it by what it is. Not only did they announce that, but they announced they'd be working potentially at exploiting the tech as well. So good to see that they're working hard to land those deals with partners such as Bungie and Peloton. And increased consolidation of the gaming market possesses challenges to Google's plan. Yeah, well, I think that's fair enough. It does. We've seen that. Hence, again, this could have been written in February 21. This is the reason, one of the reasons that was quoted that Google changed their business plan in February 21. All of this is a year out of date. It's like digging up a dead corpse. Not Stadia, but the story is the corpse here. Before any wags in there, any smart asses. I'm talking about the story. It's like basically trying to dig up the story and revive it somehow. All of these statements are true or probably true. And these headlines in themselves, yeah, are perfectly reasonable statements to make. Yeah. They're either sort of factually correct or reasonable. Yeah. If we go back to that, so anyway, so they go on here. They closed the studio. We know this. And they said they would focus on publishing games from existing developers on the platform and explore other ways to bring Stadia's technology to partners. We know all this. Okay. Since then, it says, the company has shifted the focus of its Stadia division. I'm not sure since then. I think this is what they announced they would do. I don't think, so yeah, since then, at that moment, they shifted the focus of its Stadia division largely to secure white label deals with partners that include Peloton, Capcom, and Bungie, according to people familiar with their plans. Yeah, I think that's probably true. We know that. There's nothing new here. Yeah. This is what they said they would be exploring on the 1st of February, 2021. I think you'll find now it's the 7th of February, 2022. So are you telling me they're acting out? Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what was said. Here we go. Let's go back to that original blog post, people. Let's do it. Okay, so this was Phil Harrison's original blog post on the 1st of February, 2021. And in which he says, it is clear that Stadia's technology has been proven, yes it has, and works at scale. Having games streamed to any screen is the future of the industry, and we'll continue to invest in Stadia. And they did, yeah? They continue to invest in it. We saw new features. We saw over 100 games. We're about to see another 100 plus games. We're about to see more features. So yes, they invested in it and its underlying platform to provide the best cloud gaming experience for our partners and the gaming community. This has been the vision of Stadia since the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, yeah? None of this is new. It has been the vision of Stadia since the beginning. Are you sure about that, Phil? You're not just making it up on the 1st of February 2021. Was this really the vision of Stadia since the beginning? Well, I don't know. Who could we ask? I don't know. Why don't we ask Phil Harrison from 2019? Let's check to see what he had to say back in June 2019 before the launch of Stadia at E3. Get this right so you see the benefit of it. Let's go big. Let me listen to this.
Do you think from I think people were wondering about subscription and, Xbox has Game Pass.
Did you know the
don't
same
want an
video
advert.
API that does this
Jesus.
can also do
And whatnot. Do you think over time that your subscriptions, you said there may be publisher subscriptions that could kind of live on top of it. Would you ever allow publishers to have their own stores on Stadia to sell games to people as well?
We almost enable that by default because on Stadia, a game is just a link.
Right.
And so whether you discover that game through our store or the publisher's store or Twitter or Facebook or Discord or whatever channel, it's easy to discover and propagate games.
So conceivably you could have like a Steam or Epic store inside Stadia selling games to people?
Or it could be
The
outside
publisher
of Stadia,
directly,
but ultimately it's just a link, so it sends the gamer to play the game on our platform.
Okay.
So we encourage that because we want the publishers and developers to take the game to their audience rather than always bringing it to ours.
Well, that's an interesting idea because then there could be a subscription service that would have a collection of a bunch of games where there's a publisher, a bunch of publishers getting together that could live within your ecosystem.
Yeah, that would be conceivable, yes.
That would be conceivable. Yeah. Also, he talked about going to outside the store. Yeah. Getting the games outside the store, going to the partner's website. Yeah. But being run by the underlying Stadia technology. Was this week? Was he talking about this week, Business Insider? Was this week? No, this is from June 2019. Yeah. It was always a vision. And so, they obviously refocused their attention on it, definitely, more because of the consolidation that Business Insider talks about, and we know about that because we know Xbox had bought Bethesda for $7.8 billion. That was one of the things that was said to have fed into the decision. They missed their sales targets. We know we have a hint. We don't know that for sure. Well, yeah, let's say we do know that the sales targets were missed. And now, according to Business Insider, we could put some figures on that. 750,000 monthly users. That was bearing in mind, that was in 2020. We're now in 2022. So I reckon that figure could be closer, anywhere between 750 to a million. Again, I don't know, but logic says, because we've seen data growth charts on games, and you just look at Jack DeSlip's growth charts, indicates that there is an increased activity on Stadia over a period of time. So if they had 750,000 active users at the end of 2020, missing their target of a million, then they're probably much higher. Well, higher. I'm not going to put a descriptive word on it. They are higher now, logic would dictate. Anyway. But yeah, so clearly, that consolidation that Business Insider talks about, we all know was happening. We all know that's why they decided to sort of pivot and focus and prioritize this side of things while still delivering, still delivering the games to Stadia, which they delivered on. Yeah. But the germ of the idea that they're talking about here was always contemplated before Stadia was even released. And it was clear, given the pivot in February 21, that their priority did change. And to quote the Business Insider article, the company shifted focus. Yeah, they shifted focus. They told us they shifted focus. And we've already seen, this with the AT&T Batman deal that they did last year using the Stadia tech. The deal they did with Peloton, right? The supposed deal they did with Bungie, who we know way back in 2019 and early 2020 used the Stadia tech to help continue develop Destiny 2 during the pandemic. Yeah. And they found it a very useful tool to, do complex development on a service level game like Destiny 2 remotely using the Stadia engine. And the Destiny did an interview. Somebody from Destiny did an interview and talked about that. And this proposed deal with Capcom, well, we've already seen a demo of Resident Evil Village. That was one of the first on the platform. Hopefully, this is very encouraging. I'm very exciting. Hopefully, this means there's going to be more demos from Capcom. Yeah. All of these things indicate Stadia following through on giving our focus on building on the proven technology of Stadia, as well as deepening our business partnerships. Yeah, all of that within the article backs that up. We know that Google pivoted to this because Stadia clearly didn't grow at the rate they'd hoped. Yeah. And suddenly Stadia Games and investment becomes a massive risk investment. Yeah. Now, as I say, we allegedly know, we have some numbers. The million was the target, concurrent users and monthly, and they only had 750K by the end of 2020. Bear that in mind, that date by the end of 2020. And as I say, imagine how many they've got now, probably closer to 1 million. I don't know, I'm speculating, but there are loads of Stadia stats, as I mentioned, that show an upward, there's an upward interest in Stadia. Okay, so it's not bad numbers, just not enough to justify sinking millions into first-party games. And in my video, I sort of say that clearly the growth of Stadia wasn't at the speed that they expected. And, the Business Insider article confirms that. And in that light, the closure of SG&E over a year ago was understandable. Hence, they focused on bringing games. And as I mentioned, we saw over 100 games added to the platform in 2021. The Stadia Pro library expanded to 50 games. The rollout of the app to LG televisions, Google TV-enabled smart TVs, it's coming to Samsung TVs, added features, etc., etc. All as they stated. Yeah. The article describes this as Google continues to prop up the consumer platform with a steady stream of titles. Yeah. So they're actually saying Google are bringing a steady stream of titles. That's a good thing, isn't it? They say Stadia's bringing, but apparently it's to prop up the platform. I don't understand. Sorry. Apparently this other activity is to prop up the platform. Yeah. With a so this is them propping up the platform, bringing 100 games a year is propping up the platform. Delivering a steady stream of titles is a good thing. Yeah. Is it all massive AAA blockbusters? No. Were there notable games missing for some gamers? Absolutely, yes. But did it include mammoth impact games like FIFA 22, Madden 22, Outriders, forget the quality of the game when it came out, Far Cry 6, Rainbow Six Siege? Yes, it did. It wasn't just a pile of old indies, Clive. And there's nothing wrong with indies. Look at the language in this article, yeah, that surrounds the info we know or believe to be true. Yeah. Apparently now, yeah, Phil, now he's trying to save it. Yeah. So they use words like save it. Now he's trying to salvage. Yeah. Prop up. Take those words away. And what you have is an article that says Google is pursuing an exploitation of their tech with third parties and continuing to deliver games to Stadia. That's what that article says. Take away all the rubbish, all the other stuff, that the language that they're using, the tone, yeah, but keep the information, the facts as we believe them to be. And that's what he's saying. Let me just repeat that, just so we know what's actually being said in the document. Once you remove the kind of language, yeah, take those words away, as I said, and you have an article that says Google is pursuing an exploitation of their tech with third parties and continuing to deliver games to Stadia. It is not a binary choice, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, these two business models can sit within one overall strategy. In fact, they complement each other. Why wouldn't you do that? We know that gaming is a key column in Alphabet's Google Cloud strategy. We know that. That's why Jack Buser now is the head of gaming within the Google Cloud structure. Yeah. And they're focusing on retail, medicine, and gaming as some of the key target businesses, the business to business operation. Yeah. It is a focus of Alphabet Group within Google Cloud. We know that. And pursuing partnerships to leverage the Google tech is key to that. I mean, the article goes on to say Stadia's core technology has been widely praised. Fact, it has. And then it lists some people who left. We know that. They left in March. Yeah. Their roles were made redundant. They moved on. We know that. Or they just got other jobs. Then it mentions Phil Harrison moving back to London. Yeah, you know, that's where he lives. We've been living in a pandemic where remote working has dominated our lives. I think I'd probably want to be based at home. I mean, I'm desperate not to go to work. You know, I'm expected to go back to the office, and I work in London. So that's a total red herring. Yeah, just feeding into the language they're using. And then let's talk about the estimate. Yeah, of focus. The estimate of focus, 20%. Yeah, 20% was on the was focused on the platform. And you know what? The business will. You know what business will shore up your consumer platform? Yeah, the business that will shore up the consumer platform will be leveraging the tech. And when you think about it, you don't need as much focus on running a store-stroke platform. Once you've got it up and running, it's just about delivering games and feeding the features that you're working on your underlying Google tech, yeah, into that platform. So I can understand why that focus may have changed. Whether those numbers are right, I don't know. But yeah, that seems reasonable to me. Google will want to continue to improve the tech, especially if they want to leverage that tech with third parties. So yeah, more focus on that. Yeah, more engineers on that bit. But you know what? If all the focus is on the, let's call it Google Stream Tech. If all the focus is on the Google Stream Tech, do you know what benefits from that? Stadia, the consumer side of it. The more they invest in the Google, in the background tech, as I say, let's call it Google Stream Tech, the more Stadia benefits. People are constantly saying on the Moni Reddit or whatever, oh, Stadia needs to upgrade their tech. Where's Gen 2? Where's Gen 2? Well, one can speculate that the so-called 80% effort that now is on Google Stream is largely on the tech side, not just the business deals. You know, that does include the actual tech. Why would you just switch Stadia, the consumer side, off when the tech is already proven? You've got 270 games on the site. You've got another 100 plus games come in. So you'll have 370 games. It doesn't require as much effort to maintain a storefront. So, you know, 20% quote. I mean, maybe I can see that. But the thing is, without providing context to that 20%, what do they mean? 20% more money? 20% more engineering? 20% more staff? 80%? What's it mean? It's hard to make sense of it without the context. It's meaningless. Focus. Can I imagine a scenario where the core technology and the landing of big partnership deals, yeah, which is part of the overall Alphabet cloud strategy, could take up the lion's share of attention? Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense to me. Can I see Stadia benefiting from this? Oh yeah, you better believe it, I can. Stadia continue to make hires for Stadia and, you know, Google Stream. And in some hires, they make that distinction, yeah? They actually say, come to work for Stadia, but also the Stadia, the Google streaming tech. That tells you there are two separate strings to this bow, yeah? You can check out one of the job descriptions here. And we talked about, we've seen these, they've been there. These job descriptions have been there. This is nothing new. The language that they use is in there. Yeah, it's been commented by other people, not just by me. You know, people, we've argued about it and had conversations about it. But here, look. Let me just try and find it. It wasn't in that one there. Okay, it's not that one, but there's one here. So this one's specifically about Stadia. This one. Where is that one that mentioned? There's one that mentioned about the tech, specifically working on the tech as well and working with partners. I think it was the product manager. Maybe the role's already gone. Product lead. Here we are, product lead. Infrastructure and partner experience. You'll be working here. Now, this is an interesting thing. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Sorry, I apologize. As the product lead for Stadia's infrastructure and partner experience team, you will lead cross-product multi-year roadmaps, helping to support gaming and other forms of graphics-rich, real-time interactive applications. Now, I mentioned this before on this very show, this particular job role. But it talks here about the Google Stream technology effectively. And as I say, a few episodes ago, we did speculate what that might mean. Graphics rich, real-time interactive. Might it mean VR? Might it mean AR? And all of those sort of things. So we were already talking about that side of things. Maybe it's like the Peloton type thing. Yeah. And I've got an example of here what that Peloton thing was. So Peloton is those bikes. I'm sure everybody knows. And they've lost a lot, they're not doing particularly well right now in the marketplace, interestingly enough. But here we are. This was them. Now, bear this date in mind I'm about to share here. This was in July 2021, okay? And this is exploring the intersection of fitness and gaming. This is Peloton. And they launched here. They go on about it. But basically, this has led us to experiment with new formats. And we're excited to share that over the last few weeks, we've been testing an early iteration of gaming-inspired fitness. It's called Lane Break. And there's a sort of, is it Insomnia? What's the game? Oh, a really early one. And a bit like a Avicii as well, but like it's like a Beat Saber one. But there was that, what was that game called? I always forget. Early Doors. Anyway, but it's a bit like that, where you got to hit the beats at the right time while you're cycling. Lane Break is a gaming-inspired rhythm workout on bike and Bike Plus, rooted in something core to Peloton's DNA, music. Players are challenged to match and sustain their resistance or cadence according to the cues on the tablet. Yeah? So, as I believe it, this is what they were utilizing using the stream technology. So that's just an interesting kind of insight into, as I say, that description about graphics rich, delivering, working with partners to deliver graphic rich things, maybe that's what it is. But by the way, look at the date here. This was released by Peloton. So this is what we believe they were working with the Stadia tech on. This is what we believe they were doing. Look at the date. July 2021. Okay? So that means the deal between Google / Stadia Tech and Peloton must have been done at least a few months, or at least started the negotiations for that. The conversations about that must have been started at least a few months, some months before that. Maybe around, if not before, February 2021. So somewhere between February 2021, when they said they're going to start looking at leveraging their tech, and July 2021, they were already in conversations with people like Peloton. So Stadia / Google were clearly not wasting time with the closure of SG&E, and they were getting on with exactly what they said they would be in terms of working with partners. I'm quite, personally, I'm quite excited, to think, since then, who else have they been talking with? Yeah, because clearly, if we take the business, Insider, Capcom, Bungie, we knew about Bungie. We probably knew about Capcom as well already. Peloton we didn't know about. Well, I certainly didn't know about. And if this was in July 2021, who else? And the Bungie they've been talking about since before the launch of Stadia. Capcom, where we know we had a demo last year, so they must have been talking to them, and they did a massive big deal with them. So who else have they been talking to in that time? I think, as I say, most of the content in the Business Insider article, most of this content is quite dated, really. And it leads you to speculate that there are other partners being talked to. And as I say, they're hiring roles specifically to take this on, to work with partners. And they have been for the last few months. Bear in mind that of those roles, half a dozen of those roles, if not more, are Stadia specific roles, on the consumer side of things. Marketing, business, porting, engineering, specifically on the Stadia consumer side. And some of the roles specifically mention Google Stream Tech, but all of them mention Stadia. So they're just useful to bear that in mind in terms of the job front of things. But equally, let's examine this notion of spend as well. When you're launching a brand new platform in a nascent market that you need to get games on, secure the titles up, secure a library as much as you can at the beginning, of course that means you're going to have to invest a lot more up front. Of course you do. You have to incentivize those publishers at the beginning in the deals you do to come on board because they're going to need convincing. And the greenbacks is what's going to convince them in the first place. But you can't continue at that level of investment. That's just general business. Because after a while, what you need to do, what Stadia needed to do, or probably expected, is after a while, you need publishers to come to the platform organically because the player base is there. That is your hope. You spend all that money up front, get the big games, build a library, so at least you've got something to go with for the first year or so. Yeah, if not a couple of years. And then after that, you just hope that the publishers and developers will bring the games anyway, based on your fantastic business model. And based on the return of investment once the platform has reached a certain level. Now, we already know that Stadia did not maybe reach that level in 2020, yeah? So clearly some publishers will still need incentivizing, yeah? But you certainly would not spend at the same initial launch title level. That is just common sense. So inevitably the spend in that department will go down. You can't just keep throwing money at publishers and developers. You need to get to a state where those advances are smaller because the publishers and developers have more faith in the platform. Now, clearly that needs working at. But you don't just keep throwing the level of money you throw at the beginning continually. It's not sustainable. So, is Stadia closing down any time soon? No. Right? That is just ridiculous. Yeah. We have 100 plus games coming in 2022 and new features, both of these confirmed by Stadia this week. The tech will evolve and improve because it's the same tech that Stadia streaming, is trying to sell to partners. So of course they want to improve that, and that powers Stadia. So it'll only benefit Stadia, but we know is hanging around because they're bringing 100 games. So I'll go back to my original video that I made last week. As far as Stadia is concerned, I expect more of the same that we had last year. As I said, 100 plus games, a few big hitters, and yes, I'm calling it. Yeah, I'm calling it. And I might be wrong. I don't have any evidence for this, but I'm calling it now. FIFA 23 and Madden 23 will be on the platform. Caveat here, I recognize that it is foolish to make these predictions without any information. Everyone else does it. It's not my style, but I'm going to say it anyway, just for the shizzles and kicks, kicks and shizzles, yeah? FIFA 23, Madden 23. And look, I admit it, it's more hope than any insider knowledge or anything like that, but I'll take it. But I do not expect any big fireworks, no mind-blowing events, no game, no acquisitions on big, awesome levels. Just more of the same as we had last year. And I'm fine with that. It is what I expected. So I'm happy to have that confirmed by Stadia. In my video that I made, I describe it like coastal erosion. You don't notice it happening just by staring at it every day. But after a year, you come back, you notice that there's been major coastal erosion, yeah? You've noticed you've now got 370 games in your library. You notice now you've got a massive Stadia Pro library of possibly 70 games, which is what we could be in at the end of this year. We already know they have a focus on Stadia Pro. This was mentioned by John Justice in December 2020 and followed up by the change in the Stadia Pro revenue model. And it's already been borne out by the steady net gain we've seen in Stadia Pro over the last few months. Something, as I say, even Stadia shared that I showed earlier. And now we know, according to Business Insider, if it's true, Stadia falls under subscriptions business. The Stadia, the consumer side, because it's basically running itself now, falls under the subscription side of the Google business. And the Google Tech falls under the Google Cloud, which has a bigger budget, arguably. So under the subscriptions side of Google, their targets will be what? To grow those subs out. So to me, that almost seems to underline this increase in the Stadia Pro games as well. So I think we can expect more overall. That's going to be people's targets. I think it's a safe bet. Yeah. Because of the Stadia growth we've already seen. And now, if Business Insider is to believe, Stadia sits beneath, within Google's subscription business. And you don't deliver 100 plus games and then just turn the tap off after a year. That makes no sense. So on that evidence alone, it would suggest that Stadia is going to extend into 2023 as a minimum. So all the people who said after the closure of SG&E in February 2021, Stadia would close in 6 months, 12 months, Stadia would rebrand by the end of the year, right? All those people who said that, you were wrong. Sorry. Yeah? You are absolutely entitled to hold that opinion. Yeah? No one is denying you the right to hold your opinion. But let's be very clear here. That opinion turned out to be factually incorrect. Yeah? That opinion that you had, that you are perfectly within your rights to have had, was wrong. Yeah, this is a fact. The earth is spherical. Yeah, it's not flat. Fact. Yeah. Feel free to hold the same opinion now and make a new prediction that Stadia has closed, is rebranding, will close in 6 months, will close in 12 months. You are entitled to that opinion. But you know what? Based on that previous opinion, it didn't turn out too well for you, did you? In terms of factual accuracy, And I wager the same will be true in 12 months' time. On the other hand, if your expectation is, this is the year for Stadia, though. This is going to be it. They're going to pull out some massive rabbits. Yeah, it's going to be massive, pull out massive rabbits from the massive gaming hats. Yeah, again, on that side of the coin, I also hate to disappoint you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's not enough for you. Yeah. But again, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. If a service doesn't deliver to you what you want, that's fine. There are other services that might do that. Or hey, wow, thinking outside the box here, or not having a box, a combination of services, like a smorgasbord, fill your boots on whatever gaming platforms you fancy. Yeah. That is what cloud gaming ushers in, a low entry point that you can have a smorgasbord of gaming platforms. And that's fine, But for me, as I've said it before on this channel, and I'll say it again, I don't care if I repeat myself, Stadia is the best it has ever been right now, with 270 plus games, 50 games in Stadia Pro. And by the end of the year, Stadia will be even better, with 370 plus games and maybe 70 plus games in Stadia Pro. And you know what? I'm fine with that. We had a slow, steady growth last year. And my predictions, assumptions, are we'll see a slow, steady growth this year. Simples. But there is a problem with Stadia. Now I said it. Yeah. There is a problem. And there has been a problem with Stadia since its launch. And that is perception. Google have never owned the narrative of what Stadia is. They've let the press run with what they think it is. Yeah. They've let the press run with their interpretations. They've not informed the press of what Stadia is enough. And from that, you've had the misinterpretations. And then the subsequent disappointment when what actually turns up is not what the press thought it would be. Yeah. And the nonsense articles declaring the death of Stadia. As I mentioned, I saw a big YouTuber without any sense of shame say, hey guys, you know I said last year that Stadia would close down. Well, it didn't. But it's all over for Stadia now. You really want to take the risk of being wrong twice? You know who you are. Big YouTuber. Millions of subscribers. Take that opinion again, but as I say, it's not a good look. Do you know what really annoys me? What really gets my goat, right? It's people who follow or look up to or look for information to, try to get their information from people who are consistently proved wrong in their views on a certain subject. That is like being a flat earther. All the evidence we have is that the earth is spherical, a wonky sphere. But no, they ignore that in search of a single theory to somehow prove the earth is flat, even at the expense of dismissing other theories they might have had. Yeah? I like differing opinions and stuff, but if somebody is consistently wrong, then the only reason you're following them is because of some sort of cult of personality. That's not the way I operate. I follow people not because they say what necessarily I want to hear. I do follow them because they say what I want to hear. So it is a kind of echo chamber. Yeah, of course it is. But the reason they say what I want to hear is they're usually right. And so I like the fact that they are a person of knowledge because that has been proven. Yeah. I do not understand people who follow people who are consistently wrong and just follow them because they say what they want to hear. And even if what they want to hear is not correct. I'm talking facts here. I'm not talking opinions. You're entitled to have your opinion. You're entitled to follow who you want. This is my personal thing. Yeah. I follow people I respect or who are interesting and seem to be consistently right. Nobody's 100% right, but whose knowledge seems to be backed up by facts, their predictions, their assumptions. Anyway, I digress. Stadia does have a perception problem, right? It has a major perception problem. And as ever, this Business Insider article has made that even more acute than ever before. Well, not ever before, just like it did 12 months ago with the closure of SG&E. And a lot of the time, it's just low rent stuff, nonsense. People are not even worth listening to. People just going for clicks and clickbaits and headlines and journos who know better. So many journos have repeated this article. They know they're either very lazy because they know this is all old information, the Business Insider article, yeah? They know it's all old information, but they've regurgitated the headlines, yeah? They know there's nothing new in here because they've reported on it themselves 12 months ago. And yet they've jumped on it because of the value in the headlines, in the clickbait. So they're either forgotten that they've written all this stuff 12 months ago, are the journos, or they're just doing it for clicks and giggles, I'd be embarrassed if I was a journo like that, who didn't do due diligence on this. But anyway, a lot of Stadia memes and all that kind of nonsense. It's all low rent stuff, and it doesn't really matter, you think, because it's all quite small, low key. But I do think that constant drip, drip, drip of memes, misinformation. Is Google Stadia dead in the internet searches and all that? Is Stadia closing? Yeah. All that tick, tick, drip, drip, slowly builds. And then you have big headlines like the Business Insider article, which is a bad take on existing information replicated and amplified, even though those journos and commentators replicating know that this information is old. but they still passing it off, themselves passing it off as something new. Shock, horror. Did you know Stadia closed SG&E and decided to focus on leveraging their tech while still bringing games to Stadia? I didn't know that. I might have written an article about it a year ago, but I've just read it now. I didn't know that. Headline, Stadia rebranding. Like, that's a headline I saw on a major tech outlet, a gaming outlet. Stadia rebranding. Like, did you even read the bad faith source article in the first place? Not even they say that. Or did you just go for the headline? Yeah, that's the kind of level that we're going for. But it's this constant drip, drip, drip. Like, it's like bullying. Yeah, it's like psychological bullying. Yeah. But over time, incrementally, the odd little name calling here, the little meme here, you know, that in itself, yeah, whatever, brush it off. You know, it doesn't really matter. Oh, they're just fools. They're just doing it for click. But oh, it builds and it builds and it builds and it creates this perception. And yeah, Stadia did come out with a tweet, which was great to see. Like soon after all this article and everybody kicking off. Not that it mattered because, you know, what does facts or an announcement from a company mean? But anyway, they did come out reiterating what the Google spokesperson said. Okay, let's do an experiment really quickly. Let us all forget for a minute this was a response to an article, right? Let's imagine instead this was a blog post. This was a Stadia blog post. Let us imagine for one moment that let's imagine this was a blog post, not a response to an article. Okay, just so you have to change the first sentence slightly. But anyway, we announced our intentions of helping publishers partners deliver games directly to gamers last year and have been working towards that. The first manifestation has been our partnership with AT&T, who is offering Batman Arkham Knight available to their customers for free. Well, obviously, we won't be commenting on any rumors or speculation regarding other industry partners. We're still focused on bringing great games to Stadia in 2022, with 200 plus titles currently available. We expect to have another 100 plus games added to the platform this year and currently have 50 games available in Stadia Pro. Imagine that as a blog post. You'd be going, wow, that sounds really great. That sounds really cool. Yeah. Rather than just a response to a bad faith article. That's, you know, to me, that's quite exciting. Wow. You know, the 100 plus games come in. Wow. That confirmed AT&T Batman Arkham Knight, and they're doing other things like that. That's exciting. That's good stuff. Yeah. Imagine that it was as I say, it was a blog post rather than just a response. We'd all be going, oh, wow, that's super cool, man. Yeah. We'd have a completely different view. They'd come out with this or something similar to this, or there'd been an interview. Hey, what's Stadia up to? You know, in games industry biz or something like that, or Protocol magazine, just a casual, you know, interview. And then the press had picked up on that. Wow. Turns out, you know, Stadia are working with industry partners and they're bringing 100 plus games. There wouldn't be this spin that Business Insider put on it. Oh, they're slowing down on Stadia. They're going to close it and they're just going to sell off the tech like some bad articles have written. Yeah. If Stadia had come out with an interview, you know, that put this across, we'd all be excited. We'd all be wondering who these partners are. Does it mean more games for Stadia? Questions would be asked, but there would be positive questions. Yeah. And it was great to see an instant tweet from Stadia in response to the story that had blown up. It's not something we'd really seen before. Yeah. But that tweet was good. And I think, yeah, if you hear one thing, and it was quite robust as well. if you hear one thing, that's quite a robust statement. The Stadia team is working really hard on a great future for Stadia and cloud gaming. We hope you agree, and we know the proof is in the playing. Talks about that. 100 titles coming in 2022. And also more feature goodness, which is, as I mentioned before, really exciting. Yeah? So it's good to see them come out. This is all nicely tidied up. Who tidied it up? This. Yeah. It was nice to see. I think it was InLed. If it wasn't InLed, I apologize. But it was nice to see Stadia come out with what is arguably quite robust language on this. That was good to see. Now, is it enough? Well, you know, if you really want a robust response, you don't just do you need to work at it. It's going to take, you know, it was Friday afternoon, whatever. Yeah, they were responding the best they could, I think, given the noise that was being generated. So I think it was the right thing to do. And I was especially really pleased to see the fact that not just talking about the games, but they talked about the features. Very much in line with what I've said. Continual addition of games, continue addition of features. We've done that. But for some people, the tweet was not enough. And I get that, you know, but realistically, you want to respond properly with thought and strategically. And these things take a little time. So I think the tweet, if anything, was a sort of a holding position. Yeah, like an initial salvo. And I think it went some way to at least reassure a lot of people, not everybody, but also to undermine the veracity of the angle that the article took, the Business Insider article took. However, I do believe an interview with a senior Stadia person, with a, you know, by a tech blog or an industry magazine, like I say, Game Industry Biz or Protocol or Forbes, something like that, being a bit more transparent, not bashing down the moles, but just a general conversation like, you know, hey, what's Stadia up to? Well, we can't tell you everything we're doing, but we've got great plans. We're working with third-party partners on the underlying tech. We're improving that underlying tech. And at the same time, we're developing the Stadia store and bringing more games. This is our strategy going forward. You know, just a general interview like that. Like I said, if that response had been in an interview in Protocol magazine or Game Industry Biz, we'd all be buzzing. We'd all be buzzing. And that's all that's required. Remember the interviews with John Justice or Jack Booser? Little tidbits, little secrets, not revealing lots of things, but just little bits of information here and there got us all excited. I do feel Stadia needs to be on the front foot more. Yeah? And I have experience of this. I work for an organization that is often misunderstood, falsely reported upon. And as an employee, oh my God, you get very frustrated. Yeah? You see an article that is factually incorrect or completely, I mean, like literally wrong. I mean, talking binary wrong. Yeah, I read something about a show that had been decommissioned and I was doing the contract, which was the commission. And I got a note from the press department saying, we're doing this, aren't we? I'm going, doing it? Yeah, I'm doing the contract. Oh, because the Sun are about to run a story that this show's been decommissioned. Are they? Yeah, they've said they've heard that it's been decommissioned. Well, nobody's told me. I'm doing the contract, about to get it signed. Yeah, because it wasn't being decommissioned at all. We were, in fact, commissioning another series. So we're talking that level of wrongness, yeah, that level of wrong. And you see that, and then you just see like much bigger scale things and ideological things about my organization, full of falsehoods and stuff. And you think, why doesn't the management come out and squash it now? Get out there, bash that mole down. It's wrong. And as an organization I work for, we have to sometimes, you know, we have sometimes been far too timid. Yeah, but we're a public service and it's more difficult for us to be too aggressive. Although our current management have said they intend to be more aggressive in terms of a response to nonsense articles. Well, more about being on the front foot about all the good things that we offer. Yeah, making people aware of all the good things and all the great things that are coming up. And we need that from Stadia. Yeah. As I say, I'm not talking about responding to everything. Yeah. Because you can't just play whack-a-mole. Because who's the idiot in that scenario? You for constantly whacking moles and not clearing out your lawn in the first place, or the moles for keep popping up with useless stories, yeah? It's a whack-a-mole loop, feedback loop. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be getting down in those kind of weeds. What you need to be doing is be more strategic and making sure filling that vacuum, which causes the whack-a-moles to come up, yeah? A key placed interview or article, like we've seen before, in an opinion-leading tech/investment blog, every so often, not to counter things, but just to discuss Stadia from a business or an industry or a developer point of view, yeah? Like the interviews we've seen in Protocol Magazine or Games Industry Biz, as I've said, so that Google own their own narrative. They need to seize that narrative, not the press. The press will fill that vacuum with nonsense and speculation. And unless they own that narrative, then it allows that speculation and nonsense and people who peddle that and have clickbait titles and, you know, create YouTube videos all around it and all of that kind of stuff. It allows them to perpetuate and grow. Whereas if you own that narrative, you know, as we've seen when Cyberpunk launched, and people were going, oh my God, what? Stadia's the best place to play Cyberpunk unless you spend $3,000 on a gaming PC. Stadia may be the best place to play. That narrative was owned for a moment. Yeah. People were, oh my God. Yeah. They need to own the narrative. So Stadia's not going anywhere in 2022, right? Except to continually grow at its own pace. That is a certainty, as much as there is any certainty in this world. Yeah. And one last thing tonight, right? I sat watching my son playing FIFA 22 on Stadia on my LG C1 via the LG Web OS Stadia app. And it looks and plays amazing. FIFA 22 on Stadia looks and plays incredible. And my son was absolutely loving it. He loves it. I've just fixed him up with my account at his mum's house now, so he can keep playing the FIFA there. And my son has no idea of any of this nonsense that's been going on. He's happy just playing the games he wants to play on the devices we already own. No downloads, click and play. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Should we do the chat, ladies and gentlemen? Very quickly. I've taken up a lot of your time. I'm really grateful for everybody who stayed to listen. And I'm sorry I've not followed the conversation. I've been so focused on this piece. But there we go. I've said it. It's like the Cthulhu Saves Christmas. That was a great little game. I played that. Sad story. That when that came out, violins out, please. I had Christmas on my own, thanks to COVID and everything. This was not last year, it was the year before. But I decided to stream Cthulhu Saved Christmas on Christmas morning. A great little thing. It was fun to do. There's too many games. Oh, God. I was looking for Dirt 5. Took me ages to find it. There's so many games I've forgotten about. Phoenix Point. Yeah. Reacher. Oh, I must catch up on that. Love Way Forward games. Yeah, the Shantae. I struggle with some of the Shantae games, to be honest, but I am definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, Keiju games, Streets of Rage with monsters. Absolutely, threat could be. I mean, there's at least 70, maybe about 70 games. We've no idea what they are. I'm estimating roughly on base that we know are probably about 30 games this year. Well, we don't know who the insider was when they were asked. This is all the context, yeah? If they were asked, if I was asked, if I worked in Stadia Games and Entertainment, was asked in March last year, well, yeah, they're focusing on the tech, aren't they? That's why they're getting rid of us, yeah? I'd be a bit miserable. So we don't have enough context, really. So it could be anybody. So you're absolutely right. Oddballers is good for game night. Yeah, should be good. Sonny showed a video. Oh, Sonny. I looked, Sonny. I couldn't find it. I can't believe no negative news is dated because it's heavily hated. Well, yeah, it is hated. That's why they need to own the narrative, because briefly, when Cyberpunk came round, people, and even towards the end of, over Christmas, we'd seen the press, if anything, towards November, December, sort of go, well, actually, Stadia is quite compelling. It's quite a good offer. We've seen, I've showed it on here. We had good, from Forbes, the guy who writes for Forbes, a couple of articles he's written. There's been quite a positive light compared to other articles. So we'd sort of seen that, but you need to own the narrative a bit more, personally. T-Rex, of course, Stadiasaurus, I love that. I definitely, that would go a long way. Regions, yeah. There are some features. What are those features that you think, Peda? Could be those. Yeah, but I think there are also features that they're just, oh, this is cool. We still not had the, I guess, where you ask Google's assistant, I'm stuck on this level, how do you play it? Show me a video. That kind of bit. Yeah. I saw, interestingly, Jeremy, advert. Yeah, an advert here. Actually, now you mentioned about India, look at this. Wasn't going to show you this, but here. This is for consultancy, sort of to help businesses do business in India. Unlock the potential of India's gaming market explosion. India has 400 million gamers and rising. With a potential revenue of $4 billion by 2026. Interesting. So, yeah, absolutely. India. I don't know how they did it with that lag. X-Play on Dirt 5s, is that for real? Yeah, no, see, Brian, exactly. I would just done it for the attention, but I couldn't really justify it. I've got the money, but I just, yeah. Oh, wow, there we are. He's famous. There we are. We've heard it from the source. Arigato gozaimasu, Yoshida. Kaida is famous for Gundam. He's 68, amazing illustrator. There we go. From a Japanese native, as it were, who knows these things. She's a massive fan of Godzilla. The Japanese version and all of that. Grew up with it and all of those things. So there, you've heard it here. That illustrator is not to be mucked about. Very much alive. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, Devin. It is sad, but, I think that this is the perception. I think, for a lot of people, and I mentioned it, a lot of people, they want Call of Duty. They want all the latest triple games. I want them as well. I'd love them on Stadia, but I resigned myself over a year ago that, you know, we weren't going to get everything, but there's still enough quality in both indie and big titles for me personally. I'm not like, I don't have to play, you know, if you're desperate to play all the big games and all the exclusive, then buy a PlayStation 5, buy an Xbox Series X, buy a £3,000 gaming producer, subscribe to GeForce top tier, you know, do that. If you need everything, do it. Not wrong with that. But I'm quite happy. So I can understand if Stadia doesn't provide that to you. I get it. But for me, just like Dave here, I'm happy with what we have. I don't know how Nerf Report does his reports, like, with a baby on tow. B Stadium is like be the Victor Frankenstein family, very British, all in flames. But Victor Frankenstein was German or Austrian. Yeah. Well, I just wonder, you know. Well, this is the thing. This is what I don't get. Journalists have got no shame of being wrong. Like I said on my show, so I'm show 96. I said there is no way Ubisoft Plus would only launch in America. They will on Luna because Luna is only available in America. But as far as Stadia concerned, it will launch in America and Europe at the same time. There is no logical reason why it would only be launched first in the US, other than there was some kind of weird deal with Amazon that prevented it launching in Europe on Stadia. Right? I made the prediction that information that was even Ubisoft had said on their website was wrong. Right? I was wrong. As it turned out, Ubisoft Plus on Stadia did launch in the US first, and it did not launch in Europe initially, right? I was wrong. And on my next show after that, I went, you know what? I was wrong. I admitted it. So, sometimes you're wrong. But I never see all the people that said Stadia is dead, will be dead before it's even launched. It'll be dead within 3 months. It doesn't work. Right? Go, oh, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, who made videos and made money out of those videos saying, like 1 year ago, roughly today, going, that's it, guys. Stadia's closing up. That's it. We told you it would be dead. It's final nail in the coffin. It's dead. 12 months later, another 100+ games later, new features, and it's still alive. I don't see any of them come along now until this Business Insider article, and then they come on again and go, that's it. Stadia's dead. Final nail in the coffin. Like, have you no shame? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that. Clickbait. But well, whatever. I'm not saying they're necessarily lies, but I think they are bound to the concept of Stadia being dead and they cannot disassociate themselves from that fact. They are not looking at it factually, analytically, or logically. They just don't want Stadia to succeed, and they have nailed themselves to this meme, this idea Stadia is dead. Yeah. And they hope, like a broken clock, they will eventually be right. Yeah. But they've built their personality, their brand around that kind of cynical Reddit type kind of everything's rubbish. I've got a book in my library. I don't know, I'm pointing here because it's a studio. And it's called Why Is Everything Shit? Excuse my French, right? And there is that certain cynicism, you know, oh, it's rubbish. See that film? It's amazing, wasn't it? No, it's rubbish. What? Do you watch that new TV show? No, it's rubbish. What a miserable... Anyway, there's some people who are just, that's their shtick, you know, and Google offers it to them, you know. Yeah, Pedder, you were bang on. I saw your tweet about it and absolutely bang on. It's just old news. It could have been written in the first couple of weeks. Just a 20% focus tells Alphabet don't have focus on Stadia at all. But again, we don't, that 20%, I can understand, they said they read focus, and I can understand how the money is on the third-party partnerships and using the tech. It makes sense. You're going to have to spend more money on that side of things. The platform, in my view, the Stadia consumer side can sort of run itself, yeah? It's just sort of constantly doing deals and stuff like that. And as I said, you're not going to throw the same sort of money. So I can see that imbalance happen. The 20% is difficult to sort of understand what it actually means in terms of focus, because if some of the focus is on the tech, then actually that focus is good for Stadia, isn't it? So it's hard. My only beef is that is batshit crazy for Stadia. Exactly. And the one way to stop it, as I said, the one way to stop it is to make sure the vacuum, that you fill the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Clickbait articles love a vacuum. The Business Insider article would have less attention on it if there'd been more consistent ownership of the narrative by Stadia. Yeah? It would have been more difficult for the writer of the Business Insider article to put a spin on it, yeah? Because if, for instance, Google had come out already in an interview or whatever and said this is what they've been doing, like ideally, 1 year after the closure of SG&E, Stadia perhaps should have come out, and they can still do that, going, hey, guys, I bet you're wondering what we've been doing since February 2021. Well, here's what we've been doing. We can't give you all the details, but we just want to give you a hint of what we've been doing and what's to come. Right? If they did that, the Business Insider article would be like flop, yeah? Or it'd just be a counter to that. It would not have the attention. That's all they needed to do, Stadia. And in a way, part of me, other than saying, oh, we're bringing 100 games, I wonder why they didn't go, a bit more aggressive. And maybe this will sort of trigger them to do it. I don't know. It's Google. Who knows? Peloton is a who of the age of self. Massive partnership. Yeah. Yeah. It isn't. Stadia isn't Alphabet's priority, but it never has been. And I think, wonder whoever thought it is. Alphabet is massive. Google Cloud is their strategy. Selling business to business, the tech and technology is massive. That is the focus. So yeah, I can see, well, just in terms of the size of the budgets, that's going to get more attention than Stadia. Google Play Store will get more attention. It's $48 billion a year revenue from Google Play Store. That will get more attention. So Stadia's never been a priority. With 40%, at least tell me that. But we don't know the context of the 20%. That's all I'm saying, Alberto Madonna. It's difficult to it's just a number, isn't it? Yeah, it's a number from an insider who's made an estimate. Yeah, it's not based on anything. It's like you asking me something about another part of my company and me going, I think roughly, I don't know, probably 80% of the staff do that, or 20% of the staff do that. I don't know. I don't have the numbers. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a hunch. It's a meaningless figure without more context. Yeah. I can see there be, so it could be 40%. Who knows? But we don't have any context for the figure. Yeah. In other news, water wet. Got it. Yeah, I think it got a lot of people down. Part of it got me down, not because, oh my God, what's Stadia doing? Part of me was like, here we go again, But equally, I'm glad I'd done the video that I did for my members, exclusive members. Join up below, watch the video, because it captured my thoughts before this article and before the announcement of 100 Plicks Games. But I know I'm going to be here in a year's time. Yeah, talking about Stadia. In fact, I know within a few weeks, a lot of this nonsense will be forgotten. Yeah? People will be on to other things as new games are announced and people will go, oh, you know, like the roller coaster that we live. I just wish it was less of a roller coaster and more calm. You know, we were in the doldrums a bit, you know, a bit more balanced, you know, rather than, oh, yeah. Oh, it's pro title week. Fantastic. Oh, article. Pro title. Oh, I didn't read the article. You know, like we just need a bit more calm and steadiness. And the way to do that is for Stadia just to own the narrative and let us sail upon that narrative sea, if that makes sense. Exactly, Jeremy, exactly. I think people who thought that's it, Stadia, like Google is putting everything in Stadia. Like who actually thought that? That's it. Stadia's giving up their search, their cloud, their wing, their moonshots, their lunar balloon things, their everything, their artificial intelligence, their AR, everything. We are giving it all up and we're putting it all on Stadia. Who actually thought that? Who actually thinks that? Stadia is a tiny, it is another business activity and it is by far not the biggest. We know that. So, you know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I did see an article, I think, by Jason Schreier, who suggested that part of Bungie's interest may have been as a development tool. Not only to supply, you know, so people could play Destiny directly from the Destiny website using the tech, but also that they could use it as a tool to develop their game and service their games because they found it worked really well for working remotely. So as a piece of tech to have behind the scenes in development, it was really cool for them. Apparently, that was a Jason Schreier perspective there. So the biggest investment being more regions, and I bet they're doing that. It'd be interesting to see. Well, it is a shame. It's lazy journalism at the top. Absolutely lazy journalism. Damaged Thumb, though, even Stadia content's piled on. Well, but the thing is, they'll be jumping on a different story, positive story another time, you know. Many don't understand Stadia is a StreamCloud Corp version because we have more direct partnership with publishers to let Stadia be success. Yeah. I mean, they need more work on that PR department. Many people think Stadia will continue console ways. I hope it's new paradigm here. Not quite sure what you mean, Alberto. The last time anyone saw Big Phil, exactly. But I think, Case Paul, in fairness, I think Phil is a different kind of manager. And you can neither agree with it or not agree with it, as the case may be, his style. But he's not like a Phil Spencer. You know, different managers, different ways. Phil Spencer's much more outgoing type character. Not all managers have to be outgoing. I remember going on a senior management course, and they were about, you know, mentorship, managing, you know, they were sort of training future managers, you know, whatever. And they talked about that, you know, managers not always about aggressive, you know, hard, you know, go, sell, that kind of American, you know, Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street kind of BS kind of stuff. You can have real timid managers who are really good. They're just strategically thinking and, you know, clever like that. And, you know, we had interviews with two senior managers and they were complete opposite. One was like a sales guy, you know, yeah. And one was a real sort of, she was a quiet, timid woman, but like brain, boom, really focused, and everybody had massive respect for her. So different people have different management styles, you know. So it doesn't have to be Phil. It could be anybody. It could just be the press department, you know, ringing up their press friends and doing, you know, hey, do you fancy an interview? If they rang up Tom at The Verge or whatever and said, hey, do you fancy an interview? He'd be going, yeah. That's all they need to do. Fancy an interview? Papers would go, yeah. It is under. They need to, and they do need to really push these things a bit more and work more with YouTube. And I'm surprised they don't, to be honest. More underrated stream share and state share and crowd play. Definitely underrated. Yeah, I saw that actually. That was interesting, Alberto. I saw Amazon. Amazon would probably buy it for the same reason. They could utilize their Amazon cloud tech. And Nike would buy it because of his sporting type brand. So, yeah. And Peloton are having financial issues at the moment. So they're ripe for the picking of the right company to sort of think, oh, I could really turn them round. So I love your videos, informative, entertaining, and always different. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's little shout outs like that really kind of mean something. So thank you. Yeah. Gaming can be a force for good as well as for miserable, rude trolls. Yeah. Who knows? Again, 20%. Fits for me. Thank you, Sooner Live. Much appreciated. If you're new here, everybody, please do subscribe and all of that. I do this every week, maybe not as long as this, but it's been a big week. And I also do Stadia News TLDR, too long, didn't read. Short burst Stadia News in the middle of the week with any updates, like a 6-minute news burst. So subscribe, toggle the notification bell so you know that. Yeah, but we still don't know whether they're going to get Batman or not. But it's the tech, you know? Consino, thank you. Yeah. On my Peloton now. Yeah. Good shout, Madonna. Definitely, Alberto. Bye, Peloton. Thumper, that's the game. Why am I saying Insomnia? Thumper was the game I was thinking of, I can't see. Yeah, that was like that, the Peloton game. Thumper. Must play that again. Yeah, they are, but I just wish they squashed down a bit more, you know, or made to look more foolish. And the only way, because it's not enough for Stadia to come out with a tweet to say, no, we're not closing down. People tweet Stadia, are you closing down? And they go, no, we're not closing down. In fact, we're bringing 100 plus games and we're not going, and new features, we're not going anywhere. And then you get these same sort of toxic people and people on social media say going, oh yeah, well, they're gonna say that, aren't they? You know, if I said, oh, Stadia aren't closing down, I saw somebody tweet, you know, I tweeted out the show, I'm doing the show, going to be talking about it. And somebody responded, yeah, Stadia's dead, it's closed down. And I'm thinking, well, I just typed, well, I'm not sure where you get your information from. Because my information has come from Google Stadia. And they've said they're bringing 100 plus games, new features, and they're not going anywhere. But then the response is, oh, yeah, but that's easy for them to say, isn't it? I don't believe them. But I do believe a badly written article by Business Insider. No, in fact, I do believe a badly replicated, like a bad facsimile, a bad copy in, I know, Kotaku. I believe them, but I don't believe the actual statement from Google. It doesn't make any sense, yeah? Because you believe what you want to believe, not what may be factually correct. Well, they're working on AR again on their glasses, so who knows? I'm surprised there isn't, you know, more like that. Peda, I have been wrong. And I'll say if I'm wrong. I don't like to make too bold predictions. I make assumptions based on analytics and stuff like that. But, yeah. Let's just see if I'm here in a year's time doing this. That's all I'm going to say. FIFA 23 will be, and I'll say this here, and you can come back and quote me. I would not say, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters. FIFA 23, Madden 23, it matters. I was having a look today, It is expected it will come out in September 23. I did see on a wiki page that they had on some blog that plots when they make the announcement for FIFA or any updates on FIFA 23, and it did list Stadia as the platform, but I think that's just because they were just assumed that it will come up on all the same platforms. But yeah, roundabout, I'll have to check when we get the announcement. Talking of announcements, actually, in the Dirt 5 game, on the Stadia version, there's an advert for Grid Legends. Now, that could just be in every game. Yeah. But part of me thinks, why would you put it in the game on the Stadia version? An advert within the game on the platform you're playing? Put an advert for a game that's not on that platform? Might be because it's just harder to take it out from all the versions and it's just in there. But it struck me as odd. Could we see Grid Legends come to Stadia? Don't know. We don't know, Caseball. Yeah, I'm not. I think we're more likely to see. There's more chance of seeing FIFA 23 and Madden 23 than NBA 2K because we missed a year, but we've equally missed a year with other games and they did come back. Caseball, we've no idea. Yeah. I'd like to think, to me, it's absolutely key and fundamental and they're putting a lot of attention on that, but we've no idea. Boom, drops the mic. Well, 100% not putting games on Stadia. We don't know that, Josh. We've no idea. So come back if they don't. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, citation needed. That's like my mate when he says my dad's friend runs Epic and he's going to get you banned. We're like kids when they're playing Fortnite. Yeah? Unless you've spoken to the EA sales, product manager, whatever. Yeah. We've got people who work at EA. We know people who work at EA. Don't worry about that. And they may not even know either way. Exactly. Does make. I think we'll be like 60 to 65 Pro. I think that's a good bet. Yeah. If we get a net, we've had a steady net of 1 to 2 games. So minimum 12 games, say. So that will take you to 62 or so games by the end of the year. Of course they're not. It's still early days. But I don't think anybody expected them to. They're going to probably hit round about the levels they're expecting. Major Nelson always strikes me. No, well, I'm probably older than him, but he always strikes me as quite old when I used to play Xbox. I just think he seems a bit not really necessarily down with the kids, but people love him. But yeah, you see, the great thing about Xbox, when talking of things that are killed, I used to stream on Mixer. Microsoft killed them, killed it off, closed it. Great. And I used to love the Xbox shows on, playing the latest games, talking about Xbox, Major Nelson being on them, doing interviews on Mixer. And I've said to Stadia, on the Stadia forum, on the Stadia founders forum, Stadia should do a show or get someone to do a show on YouTube. No, not me. I'm not the right demographic. I'm hardly down with the kids or good sort of, demographic necessarily. But they should, do a regular thing. Just to, highlight games that are coming, play-alongs and things like that. Yeah, 4 times now. It's like this time it's dead. I know I said it was right, and you all like thought I was amazing and correct that it was dead last year, and it wasn't. But let's all forget that. This time it's dead. I can't wait. Can't wait till next February. Yeah, you do know what grinds my gears. Oh, easy. Chill. Exactly, chill. Well, what's the next big game anyway, really, coming up? We'll see. 2030. Wow, you've heard it here, Jeremy. Who knows what's going to be around in that long? Stadia not controlling the narrative is a problem. They probably could have hit the goal for 20 if they did a better job at that. Well, perception, certainly, you know. One of the things, again, I don't know this, but before they launched, they needed to talk to the key opinion leaders, in my view, right? When I say the opinion leaders in the magazines and all that kind of stuff, they needed to talk to them to really explain what Stadia is and what it isn't. Because this whole idea, the Netflix of gaming, Stadia never said it was the Netflix of gaming, but in explaining how it works, you stream the games straight to you, just like Netflix streams the films straight to you. As soon as people heard that word Netflix, they associated the business model, not the method of delivery. And then they ran with that. And Stadia didn't spend enough time, in my view, working with the key opinion leaders at the key, tech blogs and magazines, explaining this is look, Stadia, look, it works, right? But it depends on your Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So don't play it at your corporate network, which probably has, fire guards on it and, loads of people using it, because it probably won't work very well. But every idiot knows that. You wouldn't play it at work, would you, on your corporate network? Would you? Would you, Washington Post? Would you? They needed to control that, get in front of it, and make sure the message was really clear. What Stadia was and what the business model was. Make that clear. They didn't. And when it delivered, and you have to buy your games, you have to subscribe and buy your games. What a nonsense. No, you don't have to subscribe and buy your... What? It's not Netflix. I thought it'd be Netflix. I get to play all the games, but I have to buy the games. No, you don't have to. You know what I mean? It's like none of that needed to happen. None of that needed to happen. Oh yeah, good shout out, Josh, to Josh there, Soul Home Studio. Destiny Warriors 9, big one, Dynasties. Hey, one big game to one person is a big game to another. Not talking about Stadia at the Game Awards. Yeah, they need some sort of presence. I didn't think it was necessarily... I wouldn't have been bothered if they'd done other stuff, I guess. That would have been... I agree with Lloyd. That would have been an opportunity. Yeah, just to... As I said, if they were taking opportunities to control the narrative by just making statements, like the interview with Jeff Keighley in 2019... Yeah, they're just a bit more consistent like that. Like interview I saw in Protocol, interview with Jack Booser, interview with John Justice. And I know those, they've moved roles and John Justice has gone to Facebook or whatever and all that kind of stuff. But just someone within the press department, whatever, doing that, as you say, making an appearance, just makes a difference. Especially against the constant drip, 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 drip. We don't know that. Yeah, who knows? COVID had an effect on lots of things. I bought around 140 games, beat at least 90%. Well done for you. Would you mind reading my blog post? Would appreciate your feedback. I have, and it was very much in line. I will give you feedback. Very much in line with my thoughts, to be honest, Pedder. I thought it was a good piece. It will never end. They need to control the narrative. They don't have to be aggressive about it in terms of like going, why are you being mean to us? You're wrong. We're not talking to you. No, they need to be, you know, softly, softly catch your monkey. They need to be strategic about it. The right opinion leaders, you know, not go to Kotaku or whatever. You go to Game Industry Biz, which is respected within the industry, yeah? You go to Protocol, which is a sort of investment-y type thing, you know, and that then filters down to everybody else, yeah? And those Kotaku, and that they'll ignore it if there's nothing of any interest. But the press like The Verge or the Forbes or Tech Blog, all those will then filter down that stuff. So you need to go to the opinion leaders. Stadia, Edgar, thank you. Wind it in, pal. I'm just asking the question. They committed to Stadia, now they're changing their strategy a bit. Well, now it wouldn't die, Captain Tunisia. It would make no sense for it to die. It's not a binary choice, and they changed their strategy in February 2021. So if you're reading this article thinking, oh, they're changing their strategy, old news, right? They told us that this was happening, and they would continue to support the platform, but they'd also be exploring from a business to business point of view, utilizing the tech. And if you're going to utilize the tech, you're going to improve the tech. And if you're going to improve the tech, the store's going to, you know, it makes sense to maintain the store. It doesn't cost much overall in terms of the business model. Now the store's up and running, to just keep delivering games to it and slowly growing it incrementally. 100, you know, even if it's 100 games a year, when it's rolling out on more platforms, on LG TVs, Samsung TVs, everything, you know, maybe other territories. The Stadia content creators that piled on, lost my sub and membership were applicable. Okay, I better check, Jerry. Oh my God, better check. Yeah, exactly in the very same blog, they said, no, we're not closing, and we're going to be here for another year with 100 games. And as I said, that means they're going to be here for 2023, because you don't say we'll deliver 100 games and then we're calling it a day. That's it. Yeah, doesn't make any sense. It would be good. I'm not saying we will, but it was odd that we saw a ad for it. Ah, you see, maybe the same applies then. I'm not saying it's, it could just be copy left over. No Elden Ring yet that we know of. No, definitely, no, we don't. But again, there's lots of games we don't know of, so we'll see. Let's see whether there's a Twizzy Twas tomorrow or a more thought out response or anything like that. Look, wow. Wowza. A lot of chatting. So many of you have stuck with me. Really, really pleased about that. Yeah, we've done that one, Jack. Yeah, I showed the video. Phil talking in June 2019, E3, Jeff Keighley, explained the business model then, the business-to-business potential. Absolutely. You're bang on, Jack, as ever. Anyway, I really, really appreciate you all sticking with me. I hope you found that interesting, informing, educative, and entertaining as ever. Hey, massive thank you to all of you who watched the show tonight. All of you who are watching it later on. It's a long one. So I appreciate that. Why don't we do this all again? Same time, same place, next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy yourself on Stadia this week.